Hello, this I believe is part 4 of why should I obey Qur'an 568 if the Bible is corrupted. And to me it's a video series because the Muslim never answers, and if he does it, he avoids the situation, he avoids the subject, never explain why I should stand firm upon the Injil and the Torah, especially if they're corrupted or lost. Okay, so I'll respond here. Okay, I say this. Oh, by the way, this is my bad side, which will be the Muslim side, and this will be my better side, which will be me. Okay, so I say this. Okay, quote, what did Muhammad explain in detail? I'm still wondering how the sun needs to, quote, seek permission to rise again. See Sahih Bukhari, volume number 4, hadith number 421. Also, Sahih al-Bukhari, volume 6, hadith number 326. After, quote, setting in a murky spring. Don't tell me you haven't read that from the Quran. Sure, you want me to post it? Just type, quote, sets in a murky spring into your web browser, and you will get the Quranic surah and verse after, quote, running to a resting place. Quran Surah 36:38. Quote, and the sun runs on to a resting place for him. And guess what? He doesn't respond. And I can see why. But then he says this. I don't do hadiths. You don't do hadiths? Well, that's smart of you. But because the hadith is written by men and is not the word from God. I wish more Muslims believed like that. Unfortunately, so many of them think the Quran can only be clear signs. And, unfortunately, so many of them think the Quran can only be, quote, clear signs and not a mass of confusion when the hadith is used. Hadiths are experiences and feelings, etc., by men who were at the time of the Prophet. You do realize that there are still many Sunnis who would disagree with you, true? So I hand out the Quran first, quote. Quran 36, verse 38. Exalted is he who created all pairs. Are hydras and plants in pairs? From what the earth grows, and from themselves, and from that which they do not know. 36:37. Quote, and the sign for them is the night. We remove from it the light of day. So they are left in darkness. Well, when light is removed, what is left? Isn't that kind of, what's the word, redundant? 36:38. And when the sun runs, on course, toward its stopping point. Its stopping point. Have you taken a flight from Europe to the U.S.? Does the sun really run anyway? Does the sun, quote, runneth to a resting place and set in a murky spring? That is the determination of the exalted in might, the knowing. How can that be when the earth is rotating and it only looks like it only looks like the sun is running to a resting place? 36:39. Quote, and the moon we have determined for its phases, until it returns, appearing like the old date stock. You do realize that in many Qurans it's translated as mansions. What is the Arabic word? Is it phases? Or are those who wrote it as mansions trying to make Muhammad sound like a false prophet? 36:40. It is not
allowable for the sun to reach the moon.
Why? Because the sun is stationary? Shouldn't the Qur'an say because the moon is stationary? Shouldn't the Qur'an say because the sun is stationary? To say, quote, is not allowable for the sun to reach the moon is proof that when Tabari has Muhammad saying a solar eclipse occurs when the sun falls off its chariot into the sea of water held up overhead by the power of Allah, Muhammad didn't know that the sun does appear to take over the moon.
Nor does the night overtake the day, but each in an orbit is swimming.
Right. The sun and moon, according to Muhammad, backed up by Tabari, are, quote, swimming in the sphere of water that circled the earth. It was the chariot. And they, quote, traveled in vessels. Can you believe that?
What's wrong with that verse 36, 38?
Are you telling me the sun does orbit the earth? What century are you living in?
Do you understand that what God is saying, or you don't?
What I understand is that Mr. Pubba blew it big time by saying that the sun doesn't swim in squat. Yeah. What I understand is that Mr. Pubba blew it big time by saying that the sun, by saying what he said about the sun, because the sun doesn't swim and squat. It's stationary, and the earth rotates, only making it look like the sun runs to a resting place. Thus, when Mr. Pubba says in the hadith, which I can certainly see why you don't believe in, that the sun and moon, quote, swim or travel in the sphere of water held up by the power over heads by the power of Allah, so not a drop falls, Muhammad is truly a false prophet, and not the prophet Deuteronomy talked of. Not the prophet Deuteronomy talked of at all.
And by the way, how could a man who couldn't write and read know these things, huh?
The fact that he didn't know the sun was stationary, but thought it was swimming in an orbit, seems to support the reason why he couldn't read nor write. He probably loved to pet bunny rabbits hard.
First of all, I didn't say the hadith are not true. I said that the writings are by men, so you have to understand the context.
Okay. What is the context of, quote, at night the devil sleeps in your nose. So if you get up, you have to clean your nose 3 times to get the devil out. What is that? What's that a metaphor of?
The feelings in the way they explained it, etc. I am not a scholar.
Okay.
Let me give you an explanation of the verse. Maybe then you will understand. Because I don't think you can read English and understand the way God uses words, my friend.
Really?
36:36. Glory be to Him who has created all pairs of that which the earth produces, as well as their own humankind, male and female, and of that which they know not. 36:37. And a sign for, he totally ignores the fact that they're hydras, It's not true that he created everything in pairs. And there's flowers, there's plants and stuff, not in pairs, you know what I mean? Oh well. Because a plant can be male and female at the same time. Oh well. It goes on. And the sun for them is the night. We withdraw there from the day, and behold, they are in darkness. 36:38. And the sun runs on its fixed course for a term appointed. That is the decree of the might of the Almighty, all-knowing. And the moon, and we have measured it for its mentions, to traverse. It totally ignores the fact that the sun runs a fixed course. That means in orbit. Oh well. Continues. And the moon we have measured for its mentions, to traverse. Well, till its return like the ultra-curved state stock. It is not the sun to overtake the moon, nor does the night overstrip the day. They all float each other in orbit. Do you understand it now? So, the sun and moon do orbit the earth. I've never met anyone before who is trying to refute this verse and didn't understand it. Oh, really? All you did is cut and paste from the Qur'an. How did you explain anything? Are you saying the sun and moon do orbit the earth the way those scriptures infer? And he doesn't respond. But then he takes it from this other time here. Says this. He takes my words. Says this. Quotes me, I say. Okay, what is the context of, quote, at night the devil sleeps in your nose? So if you get up, you have to clean your nose 3 times to get the devil out. The Prophet, Papa said, it's metaphorically. Why? He said that in a metaphorical way. You believe also in the devil. So what is the problem? How is it metaphoric? You mean you don't have to clean your nose 3 times when you get up at night? I take it that the devil doesn't pee in your ear or tie knots in your hair either? How is it metaphoric that at night the devil ties knots in the back of your head, in your hair, in the back of your head, and recites something about the night being very long? By the way, is it also metaphoric that you have to be on a prayer rug 5 times a day, every day, for the rest of your life, with your patootie up in the air to keep from paying the jizya and keep from going to hell? How come that can't be metaphoric, like the devil sleeping in your nose? I mean, salat is in the hadith, like the devil sleeping in your nose is in the sahih, the correct hadith. So, how come the devil sleeping in your nose is metaphoric, but not having your patootie up in the air 5 times a day every day for the rest of your life? That isn't metaphoric. So the sun and moon do orbit. Then, you know something? He totally ignores me, but then he says this. But then I say this. For another time, since he ignored me, I said. So the sun and moon do orbit the earth? Of course! If you didn't know that, then you must go back to school, my friend. What? What? The moon orbits the earth? That is for sure. Well, don't tell me. You believe the sun is orbiting the earth, really? But Allah is... Don't tell me. You think the sun is orbiting the earth, but Allah is bending or twisting light rays to make it look like the sun is stationary and the earth is rotating? So when science... Okay, I've got to stop it here. Oh man, I can't believe it. Sounds like he believes that the sun does orbit the earth. Alright, I'll get back.